Now, the tweet that Chris Demm says is the shadiest, most low-key a-hole tweet of the week does not belong to Chris Demm himself this week. Usually it does. Because he's no Tu Alhardo gave him that name, low-key a-hole.
Yeah.
Because when Chris Demm emails you, if you email Chris Demm, he'll say something and you'll look at it and go, oh, okay. And then 3 hours later, you realize, wait a minute, he just slapped me in the face.
That's right.
That's just a complete wind-up and a slap in the face. Whoever runs social media for Weight Watchers got in on the Kanye West controversy. Kanye West has been saying all sorts of anti-Semitic things, and he said some crazy things in the past, and then he'll sort of dare the companies he's involved with. Like he dared Adidas. He's like, I can say anything I want. Adidas won't drop me. They dropped him. They were like, we're not going to be part of this guy anymore.
Yesterday was apparently he just stormed the headquarters of Skechers.
Yeah. Does he have anything to do with Skechers?
No.
I didn't think so. What?
Apparently he just went in and was like, y'all want to make my shoes?
What power?
Yeah. And Skechers promptly had him removed from the campus.
Yeah, of course. No, he's toxic now. Nobody wants to deal with it. He went from being a billionaire, he lost like half his worth. Because
anti-Semites deserve comfortable footwear, too.
What do you think about it?
It's a niche market.
Because the Yeezys, I've seen them. They don't look. I mean, for a person of my age with my aging feet, I need more support.
Yeah, of course.
I like the Skechers.
You do. Yeah, Skechers nice.
What's he going to go next? The Crocs?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. He didn't do his homework. Skechers is owned by a Jewish family. So they're not going to do business with Kanye.
No, they won't. So Adidas dropped him, and Weight Watchers tweeted directly to Adidas, congratulations on losing 163 pounds, which is exactly what Kanye West weighs.
Wow. Pretty good.
That's a solid burn.
Nice tweet. Nice tweet there. Yes, absolutely.
I've seen that before in relationships when breakups happen. You know?
Really?
Yeah,
Congrats
you'll see somebody
on losing.
post something like, I've just lost 240 pounds of dead weight.
Go, girl.
Let me tell you, Chris Demm has a story coming up in a Demm report today about a relationship. It's just so interesting to me. It's about love that was lost and then found again, and there's a real twist to it. That's coming up here in a Demm report. Also, now yesterday, and a lot of people said they missed Put Up or Shut Up Rock and Roll Trivia. Today's Put Up or Shut Up, Biggie says, is one of the most difficult games ever. And for a Throwback Thursday, the most difficult Throwback Thursday. Statsman Rodney says he wants in. He was here last night. He said, I want in on this game because Biggie says it's so tough. And it is a tough game. I had been teasing one question for yesterday's game for a while, not really because of the question, but because of the story behind it. It was about a rapper named T.I., and T.I. was staying in a Miami hotel, and the lead singer of Creed, Scott Stapp, literally jumped from his hotel room and landed near T.I. This is T.I. telling the story, the rapper telling the story of what happened. And he says he only tells the story now because Scott Stapp has written a book, and he chronicled it as well.
Me and Phil and my old lady, Tamika. So we go and we check in, and the first thing I said was, this a little bitty-ass room. But then Phil and I said, well, I'm going to go out here and smoke a joint.
All right. So the trip starts like fairly regular. Small room, but let's go smoke a joint out here on the balcony. So they're out smoking a joint, and they start to hear strange noises.
We go outside, smoke a joint, and we start hearing like, and I thought Phil was a heavy set dude. So I was like, is you hungry, motherfucker?
That's my favorite part of it. He starts hearing, he looks at him and is like, is you hungry, MF? What? And Phil, who's his manager, says, no, I'm not hungry. No, that's not me. There's groaning sounds coming from around their room.
That ain't me. What you mean? Then I started noticing, that's a human. So when we walk out to the uncovered area of the patio and look up, was Scott Stapp. I didn't know who he was. He was just a white man hurt.
That's my second favorite part of it.
White man is hurt.
It's a white man that is hurt, but he goes up to him, and he's like, I'm Scott Stapp of Creed.
Is that the first thing you said?
I'm Creed's Scott Stapp.
I think you've heard of Arms Wide Open.
What? I sing Arms Wide Open.
This is really, really good weed. A rock star just landed on our patio.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's Scott Stapp. So he looks down at him and he's like, man, what's going on with you? Well, he had jumped off of his hotel room out of his window and landed right above T.I. on a balcony, and this is the end of it.
He broke his legs, I think, but he was still trying to get up and move to finish jumping. And I was like, nah, just sit back, chill out, and Phil say,
He offered him a part of the marijuana cigarette, and Scott Stapp said, just call an ambulance at that point.
Please.
And he had been broken up with, Scott Stapp, and was literally jumping to end his life. And so T.I., now they've become friends. It's a really cool story. I mean,
Yeah,
it really was.
Unreal.
It was an amazing story. It was.
I mean, it's breathtakingly sad at its core,
I know,
but it's turned into something remarkable.
It has. And the way he told it, that's a storyteller. You know, that's a storyteller there.
You know, and I've heard of T.I., but I've never heard him rap. I've seen him in a couple of movies.
Oh, yeah. I know a lot of his songs.
But I don't know his songs.
I knew you would be a fan. I thought you would probably know him.
He's good on camera.
Now, you talk about storytelling. Now, I've been reading into this Matthew Perry book a lot.
Yeah, you really have. Maybe too much.
More than most. But I'll tell you, and when this was announced 6 months ago, Matthew Perry said, I'm coming out with a book. I was like, I don't care. I
took
know.
a call from a young lady who said she had the date circled.
Yeah.
The release date.
And it's coming out, I think it's
Tuesday?
tomorrow. It's soon.
I think it's tomorrow.
Is it?
Oh, it is?
I'll have to look.
Well, the interview's tomorrow with Diane Sawyer. They're doing an interview. And maybe next week. Nonetheless, very soon. And I thought, I know his story. He was addicted to painkillers. He did friends.
He's not even your favorite friend.
No.
Is he your favorite boyfriend?
My favorite boyfriend is probably... No, I think Joe is.
That's a trick question.
Oh, I see what you did.
Yeah, he's trying to
wind
clear
up
I
up
see what
there.
you did. That's a complete wind-up.
Yeah, he's giving you the business.
Thank you for stepping in. You're my best boyfriend. That's what you are.
Please don't put that in writing.
That's who's my best boyfriend.
Very alarming.
Right there is my best.
You're my T.I.
That's right.
Chris Kelly. You probably heard of me.
No, man.
Do you have any weed?
No, he's just a white dude. Hurt.
Smelled weed. I jumped over the balcony.
Chill out, man.
It's just a little further down than I expected.
I was hoping maybe you'd offer a little something. Man,
Smells really good.
God, your manager's fat. Holy cow.
Man.
No, so Matthew Perry is telling this story. This is I think Chris Demm will be interested in this story from the book. And the more I read about it, the more intrigued I am with it. Because he was on 55 Vicodin in a day at his worst. His weight fluctuated 100 pounds over the length of the show. He only did one season clean. My question earlier today was, we talked about it a little earlier, if you're on 55 Vicodin in a day, and he said, look at my weight too. If my weight is up, I'm killing myself with booze. And I think to myself, how can you function? How can you remember your lines and all that? But we had a caller say, you get to that point where you need that to function. You know, so that's how he did. Anyway.
What does Vicodin do? Does it make you feel
Well, it's a painkiller.
fuzzy?
Painkiller.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a downer? I don't even know.
I just don't know what the effect is that would make you want to keep going back to it.
I know. But it is so addictive.
I believe that.
I believe I read it many years ago that he had hurt himself, like a knee or something, got on Vicodin, and like so many people then needed more and more and more, to feel that. Like numbs you almost, wouldn't you think?
I guess so.
Would you like to feel nothing for a couple of hours, Dave?
I mean, really.
I'm feeling it right now.
I just told my friend yesterday, we did our podcast, and I said, I'm eating Advil right now like it's candy. I'm taking 2 Advil a day.
That's bad for your kidneys.
I know. He was saying
your
that.
liver,
He
something like
said
that.
it's bad for your internals, but
What'd you say? I had my headphones down.
Someone's not a best boyfriend anymore.
we were on our podcast yesterday. Nonetheless, here's a good Matthew Perry story Chris Demm would probably like. In 1984, Matthew Perry did a show called Sydney with Valerie Bertinelli. Valerie Bertinelli played a character named Sydney. It was her comeback to CBS after One Day at a Time.
Oh.
Okay.
Vaguely might remember that somewhere, seeing a commercial for it.
I did a little deep dive on it. Show lasted 3 months. March to June of 1984. They didn't have it back. And the show was about, she was a private investigator who moved back from New York City to her small town roots. Matthew Perry was her cop brother who was overprotective. And then there was a guy who was like a lawyer who was her main client. And she would go to a bar run by a guy, an older guy, played by Jerry Seinfeld's father in the show. That actor and she would like tell her troubles to him. Nonetheless, I mean, I just like looked at this like, man, what was that show? Well, Matthew Perry was on it. He was in a police officer uniform,
and not just an incidental role.
No, he was the co-star,
main player.
Yeah, he was her brother. So anyway, he says they would rehearse constantly at her house, and one night they were there and they all got to drinking, and Eddie Van Halen passed out drunk. And he made out with Valerie Bertinelli for about an hour while Eddie Van Halen was laying there passed out drunk 10 feet away. This is in the book. This is in Matthew Perry's book. And he said that he had dreamed of making out with Valerie Bertinelli since he used to watch her on One Day at a Time. And so when he got close to her on the new show, he was like just enthralled with her. So when he was constantly thinking about it, so they were all a little drunk. Eddie Van Halen passed out. They make out. He thought it was going to lead to sex. It didn't. They just kissed and everything. And at the end, he said, I've been dreaming about that for years. And she goes, I've been dreaming about it since we first met, which was a few months earlier. And the next day at work, she didn't mention it, and she never mentioned it again. They never had another session, according to him in the book. But with Eddie Van Halen, and he's like, I love Eddie Van Halen, and here I'm making out with his wife.
Yeah.
You know? Isn't that crazy? A story.
Well, I guess all eyes will turn to Valerie for her response.
Yeah, got
Yeah, really?
You know,
did she make out
yesterday
with
Yesterday was the why did you wish death upon Keanu Reeves more than once?
He's apologized. He's apologized for that. He said, I wish, Chris Farley died. Why didn't Keanu Reeves? That was his whole point.
Yeah,
River Phoenix died. Why didn't Keanu Reeves?
That's not the way to go about it.
Keanu said, I'm really
What am I doing to you? What have I done to you?
That's exactly right. The other interesting story coming from Taylor Swift today. What was the word that Lizzo just removed from one of her songs? Spaz. Remember that a couple of months ago?
Yes.
She came out with a new song, Lizzo, and it had the word spaz in it, and a lot of people said, oh, that's insensitive. You can't do that. So she removed it.
We learned that in particularly in the UK, that word it means something else. It has a different connotation.
It's worse than we use it here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the R word.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like that's what they refer to often. I think it has that status in the UK.
Do you know, this goes back to, was it Friends? I think it was.
It always does.
I mean, in the end, it really does.
Friends? Yes. Yes. I was watching an episode of Friends, and the R word for mental issues was used in the show, and they had edited it out. And this is how deep I go into it. I was watching on Nick at Night, but I had it recorded from TBS. Like on YouTube TV, it says choose your version. So I was watching a Nick at Night version, and they had edited out the R word. I mean, just basically blanked over it when she said it. And so I went to see if they had done it on TBS, and they left it in. And I wonder if they'll get it out eventually because of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift has a new song called Anti-Hero.
It's me.
She just dropped an album, right? Yeah.
This song's a jam.
Great
bro.
song. Great song.
Aging DJ using the word drop.
Love it.
You just dropped a new album.
She dropped one at midnight the other night.
Yep.
I was on to this.
Are you doing this at your gym yet? Too new?
Too new, and this would only probably be cool down music
Yeah, this is a slower jam.
unless they pump it up a little bit.
Sexy baby.
There's a put up or shut up question next week. Got right from the gym. I hear it all the time, and I was like, I got to use this one. Well, yeah, it's a newer song too, coming at you. Anyhow, Taylor Swift in this particular video, there's a scene. Now you don't hear about it in the song, but there's a scene where she steps on a scale, and instead of showing a number, it just says fat. It's like she's down, and she's like, oh no, I'm gained weight. So all it says is when she looked down at the scale is fat. Big time backlash. She says, I am so sorry to the overweight community. I am taking out.
Come on.
Your response?
People. I'm
Do you
so
accept?
Did you accept me?
Leave it in.
Yeah.
I've said this before. You know how I feel about fat people. I'm fat. I'm the king, and I hate them.
I know.
So whiny. We know we're fat.
That really is why.
Yeah, and the scene in the video, which I saw, is basically it's a video about kind of her, the different versions of her.
Yeah.
And it's basically saying like, no matter what I do, it looks like I'm fat. you know,
right.
people think say I'm fat online, that kind of thing.
Oh,
so
I
it's like
see.
she gets on the scale and looks down and just says fat, and there's another version of her next to her going, like, oh, you are fat.
Right.
It's almost like the demons in her head, the demons online.
So it's kind of the point of that scene.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know why she had to take that out.
Sounds like it's not making fun of a people.
What,
It's
it's,
just using a word.
it's meant as a statement on her body issues,
On her
just what
treatment.
Biggie-
Right.
Exactly.
and how she's been treated.
And that's kind of what this whole song is, but people just get so up in arms. Like, calm down, especially fat people. We stand up too fast, we get dizzy.
Biggie's self-proclaimed king.
I'm just saying.
When's the coronation? Hell yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Around Thanksgiving.
No, I'm with you. I'm with
It's
you.
just so stupid.
It's been labeled fat phobic. It's been labeled as body shaming, and she's taking it out. She says, and she went online and said, I hear you. We are taking out the word
That's
fat.
too bad.
Is she going to put her actual weight on the scale?
Yeah, do that.
No, I'll tell you what the video is now. It's just there's no look down part. There's no
Just
they
cuts.
cut that out, and it's just her looking down at the scale and the person or another version of her next to her doing like a
Okay.
finger wag.